me try to get you on live. Can't wait for people to get on there.
Hi guys, we're in San Miguel de Allende in Guanajuato, Mexico, and I'm at Logan's studio. We're about to talk a little bit of syncretism, and he's just setting up his channel to go live there as well.
No, I'm just gonna keep it cool. You can start.
Yeah. So we're in a very beautiful town, 6,000 feet in elevation. It's obviously Tartarian, there's no doubt about it. There's cobblestones everywhere. You can see the weathering in all the stones on the roads and in the buildings, which are thousands and thousands of years old. No doubt about it.
You know what I know people want to know is they want to, I saw people say, what is Tartarian? People have been asking that. So why don't you tell them that? Like, what's Tartarian?
Okay, well, Arya is Aryan, and I believe Tartaria is the golden age of the Aryan people that started with India, Persia, and the Mayans and the Egyptians about 1 million years ago. So Tara is the Irish goddess, Isis, Tara. So Tartaria, the kingdom of the Aryans. We are the 5th root race. So before the Aryans, there were the Atlanteans, the 4th root race. And then before the Atlanteans were the Lemurians. Before the Lemurians were the Polarians. The Hyperboreans. And the Polarians were the 1st root race. So we're the 5th root race, and you and I are the 4th sub-race of the 5th root race.
Right, and then what's his name? Who does the egg? Who does all the round stuff? What's his name? That you've done shows with him. What the heck's his name? He shows all the subterranean races and all the circles, and he does all the eggs. What the heck's his name?
Martin Kenny.
Yeah, Martin Kenny.
Yeah.
Because that goes right into what you're saying.
Oh yes, it does too. Absolutely, yes, of course.
Yeah.
He's been working on that as well. So yeah, we're being of Latin and Celtic. You'd be Celtic, wouldn't you? Or
Mutt. yeah, probably. Folks, I want to ask you, can you hear us okay? Okay, we have 2 Karens on the line. We have a Donald Triumph. But can everybody hear us okay? And then Santos, you got some comments coming in.
Okay, I've got comments on as well, but
Persia.
I'm not going to be paying attention to them because
I'm going to be paying attention to them right here. I just want to, okay, Karen says she can hear us good. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Great.
Yep. So folks, we're here in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, and Santos came to visit, as fate would have it. And it's not that easy to get here. Well, I mean, it's easy, but it's not that close to get here. It's actually like a 2-hour plane ride. So it's quite a distance because Mexico is such a big country. And Santos is on the east side in the Yucatan, and I'm over kind of in the dead center. That's where San Miguel de Allende is. It's kind of about 3 hours north of Mexico City. And so Santos came out here with Julieta, and he's been here, and we're going to be here for another couple more days. But we wanted to come on here and kind of talk shop and syncretism with all of you. So if any of you have a question, something you want to kind of talk about, something you want us to talk about. Okay, so we have Ali saying, talk more about Martin Kenny. I don't know. You know Martin better than I do.
Yes, well, Martin's sort of developed a good model, which I like.
Yeah.
Showing how there is potentially more lands beyond Antarctica as Sir Captain George Hubert Wilkins, the Tasmanian contemporary of Admiral Byrd, discovered in the 20s. He went, according to him, he went past the Atlantic ice and came upon many lands and peoples. According to him, he logged 5,000 miles beyond the
ice wall.
The ice wall. So Martin's gone into that, which I haven't as much, because I've just kept it to the model that I know the solar system is. It's a torus field because everything's torus fields. So whether it has all of these layers, which is potentially possible, and it's an infinite plane or not, we'll one day probably find out. But it's a good model, and it shows that he's a forward thinker, and it shows that he's seeking the truth.
He's seeking the truth, and he's moving towards the absolutes. Folks, if you're a syncretist, if you're a truther, you got to make the truth your own, but at the same time, there's a lot of convolution to that because there's a lot of BS out there, right? Or everything's right, but what we would consider BS. So, Santos and I, we match up really well because we're kind of in the same dynamic mind of the torus field as the center point or the foundational piece, and then sacred geometry and everything else that fits inside of that model. And then the real trinity, dielectricity, magnetism, and electricity. But maybe we can talk about that. Could people live in the other lands? Persia's asking, could people live in the other? Of course, why not? If there are other lands, there has to be a way to live there.
Yep. That's why they're protecting with armaments. I think there's about 47 nations who have signed the treaty to protect Antarctica from you and I going there and potentially damaging the continent by walking
the freezing
on it,
cold continent,
and breathing over it, and perhaps urinating on some of the ice. I mean, God forbid we should.
They don't want a yellow snow over there.
No. So they don't want us to go there and breathe and do things like look at the ice and touch it. So, of course, so there must be a good reason why so much intent has gone toward protecting Antarctica, and there's so many myths about Antarctica, because Sir Captain George Hubert Wilkins went there, and others as well have been beyond, and he was fortunate enough to come back and recount, and had a very proper, correct scientific approach. So he was credible, and he was given the credit, whereas many others have done the same thing, but no one knows who they are.
Right.
They didn't have a name for themselves, etc. And so we always get stuck in the same position.
Yep.
The herd mind is the mind that dominates, and hence whatever it thinks, that's reality. Mm-hmm. So people who use their own minds, like you and I, and we think about these things, and the person who is there asking the question, can you live there? Yes, you can live there, and there does exist, because we have not just that one person, but other individuals as well who have been there and seen those lands.
Mm. So Gilbert Tessier says, I need to speak with you guys. How? Well, Gilbert, you can send me an email to get through you get through me to Santos, because he's busier than I am, but you can send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and just pass on your question, whatever it is. Obviously, if you're reaching out, you may have something important, and we're all open, because this is all about syncretizing with all of you. Then you have Appstar saying, emanations from the monad, what must we do to ascend? Emanations from the monad. What must we do to ascend? That
Wow.
was the question.
Wow.
Pretty interesting question.
I'm thinking pretty interesting name.
Abstract.
Emanations from the monad.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Wow.
Yeah. What must we do to ascend?
Well.
Be a good person.
Yeah.
That's rule number one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Be correct. Do things correctly. You know, it's obvious what is not correct because we all have what's called common sense. Although,
Well, there's gradients to that.
yeah, but common sense does exist, and common knowledge and ancient wisdom. I would suggest strongly suggest read a lot of the sacred scriptures, because when the Creator makes the world, it's already scripted. And the Creator, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Krishna, whichever monad, dyad, triad, tetrad, whichever one you're talking about, it's all in the script. As they breathe out creation, that they see all the details and all the destinies and all the fates of every sliding door and every tangent, every thought, every emotion. It's all felt, it's all seen, and it's scripted, and hence we get scripture.
That's right.
Because it's holy writ, it's all scripted, and we're in the script. And you, better than anyone else in the world, I think, know that with your decoding of reality, that you can't make any of it up, and you can't escape any of it, and you can't well, you can manipulate certain things, but like for instance, if you're on a road and you're travelling from this town to that town, and it's the only road, well, it's the only road. You're destined to go on that road to get to there. But you might be drunk, so you might be going like this. Or you might be sober, and you might be going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah,
or you might be a grandmother, and you might be doing 10 miles an hour, farting down the road, really slow. So you're still on that road, it's still the same destiny, it's still the same script, but there's certain conditions that come along.
The journey.
That condition that script. So you do have the power to manipulate what has already been scripted and condition it and change certain things, but ultimately everything is happening the way
it was designed.
It was breathed into creation.
Yeah.
So how to ascend is to do what is correct and good, just be a good individual.
Yep.
Be as good as you can be. Avoid the things that distract you from the path, which is generally to do with sense gratification, satisfying the senses and the material urges that we have. We do have a body that needs a lot of care. We need to eat, we need to sleep, we need to have a house, we need money in this system. So there are certain constraints and things that will pull us away, but as long as we endure and do the correct things, treat your neighbour well, the obvious things. You're always going to be ascending. It's like a baby a 1-year-old child never says, how am I going to grow and be an adult and be like you, Dad? He doesn't think about that. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But if he eats less, it's going to be slower.
Yep.
If he eats a lot, right, maybe
maybe.
More,
The decay rate's faster.
right. So there's certain things that can vary that,
Yeah.
you know. So you're going to ascend anyway. The point is, do you want to do it in this lifetime,
Yep.
or do you want to do it in another million lifetimes? Personally, I want to try and do it in this lifetime.
Yep. We were just talking about that. We were just talking over dinner about playing this game and how it's very possible, if you're a believer of reincarnation, which is very possible, that's the way the game works. We were just talking about how, you know, if that is the case, maybe there is a heaven and you go to heaven. You know, but ultimately all of those options are about playing the game the right way, and it's about not being an asshole. It's about being a good person, loving other people, putting other people, you know, in front of you, and paying attention to your temple. And that's how you win the game, if there is such a thing of winning the game. I think you level up, as I was telling you. I think it's like a video game. I think that you have a set of blueprints, your cosmic blueprint. And if you fancy Akashic records, I have a friend that reads those, if anybody's interested in that. But my friend that reads Akashic records, she clearly says that your script was written before you got here and you're just playing out your script. And the amount of leeway you have is not as much as you think you have. So, you know, there was a movie that came out in 2011 called The Adjustment Bureau. It was with Matt Damon. And that movie said that human beings don't really have that much free will. They have, you know, you can pick your toothpaste, what kind of shoes you want to wear, what you want to have for dinner. But if you get off track of your script, it's going to push you right back on track, because you must be living out the blueprint of whatever created this reality. Because it's a game. And the game's already, that's why the scripture is all coming true. All the prophets, that's why all the Vedas and the Upanishads, all that is coming true, because they're all one and the same origin. And they're just the script. And that script's playing out. That's why you should know what your astrology chart is all about, your numerology, your life path, your human design, your personality type, your Mayan astrology, your Chinese astrology, you know, your yang metal, your yang water, yin water. All of these layers are part of your cosmic blueprint. And the better you know yourself, the better experience you're going to have on the journey to get to the end result. That's that point that you were talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you ain't changing the Taurus field.
Yeah, look, I think ascension is related to awakenedness and consciousness. Consciousness is the key. Consciousness is one of the three key desires of the heart. So the Indians teach Sat, Chit, Ananda. Chit is consciousness. Yep. So it's the way to ascend, to be conscious, not aware. Awareness is different to consciousness. So like I don't know, like an insect, a frog. I think I was saying to you the other day, like a frog sitting in a pond is aware that there's a predator over there and there's some food over there that it can prey on, but it's not conscious of the name of what humans have given to that insect or to that predator. It hasn't got, you know, a repertoire of knowledge. That's what consciousness would be. So the way to consciousness is knowledge. You will know the truth and the truth will set you free. So like that frog that is aware, I mean, it can't go to school and learn more than all the other frogs. It can't sit there and go, geez, I don't want to be a dumb frog like Joe Frog and Bill Frog over there. I'm going to go to school and be more conscious because I'm aware of my surroundings. So it's a poor example, but so...
No, I think it's a good example.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to understand.
Yeah,
I think it's totally a great example.
Yep, so I think consciousness is the key. A lot of people focus on spirituality and philosophy, which is great because you need those. Those will be your daily practice. But if you're not going to have an open mind and keep your mind closed, it is a mental universe. So consciousness is a big, big part of it. And of course, Sat is existence and Ananda is bliss. So all we are seeking is to exist, to be conscious and to be blissful.
Blissful.
And so, as I said before, with the child is never asking, how to grow. It's not going to sit there worried about, growing into an adult. It's going to happen. So we don't have to sit here and necessarily stress over ascending. We are going to ascend. Even if we do, have an extra beer or two every day, or we do, we get angry, or we do some wrong stuff. We're all doing wrong stuff, But ultimately, we have to and must ascend, because that's how the whole universe does work. And even if you don't do it in this life, and you come back, you reincarnate as an animal, according to Pythagoras, you still get a chance to come back through the human form, through the hero, angelic, and back to cause. Pythagoras taught that thousands of years ago. So even if you shouldn't ascend in this cycle, and I believe they gave a figure of 10,000 years of cycles of necessity for each individual. So I'm hoping that I'm at the 9,999th year of my cycle, because I kind of
Don't want to come back?
Well, this is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful world.
It's a catch-22 though, right? It's beautiful, but it's such... Yeah, we talked about all that, how beautiful it is, but how much suffering there is. It's inevitable.
Yeah, I know that my source is unconditioned and unlimited. Here, sitting in this chair, I am conditioned and limited. I have to sleep, I'm tired. I have to eat, which I did like a horse just before you saw how much I ate. I had a freaking...
You packed it down tonight.
a soup, a burrito, a tacos. Wow, I'm still feeling it. But these are conditions. Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to eat? Because then you wouldn't have to work as much. Because we're working what for? To eat. Mostly. Oh, if you don't work, you don't eat. That's what we used to say in Australia. I've heard that in Australia growing up all my life. If you don't work, mate, you won't eat. If you want to eat, you have to work. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Conditioning.
So it's a condition, right? So yeah, I love this world. I love eating. I love drinking. And it's a great place. But I know that such a thing as unconditionedness and unlimitedness exists. And I can have that. It's for the taking. So, yeah, I prefer that.
Yeah. I mean, there is that possibility, too, that we chose to come here. We lost our memory. And we have a specific assignment, which plays right into the Akashic Records. Again, to where, you have a specific blueprint that you're living out through syncretism, teaching people how the real mechanics and machinations of the matrix in the world works. So then when you reach the climax of leaving the avatar, maybe you get to that gate to where you're like, I don't know if I want to, you're given that option. Like, do you want to try it again? Do you want to go again? Do you want to get reassigned?
Yeah.
I have a feeling, I was telling you this, like, folks, what do you, I had this on my live, and I was like, maybe the demiurge that runs this reality, maybe it's going to lose its job because it's not running the planet the right way. Maybe the script that it wrote out, the architect of the universe, maybe it didn't write the script the way that the one that's before it precedes it kind of likes it. And maybe it lost its job. It's no different than a boss losing its job at a company, and it was a CEO, and it gets fired from that CEO position, and it has to go down and to a different, and it has to reassign itself. Is it too far-fetched to think that whatever created this reality, that's its job, is to be the architect? Kind of like an architect writing the blueprint and then giving the designs to the contractors to then build the house.
Spot on.
Right? And there was a show on Netflix called The Good Place. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it starred Ted Danson from Cheers. You know who Ted Danson was. And he's Archangel Michael. It's called The Good Place. and you die, and you come in front, and he's Jesus. The guy who created that show is Jewish. So the concept was, it's called The Good Place, but the contradiction is it's not really the good place. Because they match you up with people who they're gonna drive you absolutely batshit crazy. They're gonna give you temptation, but they're gonna give you suffering at the same time.
Yeah.
And the concept is really funny, folks. If you haven't seen that show, The Good Place on Netflix, it's a really funny show, the first season anyway, but the concept's pretty interesting. So maybe the boss of this reality, his time's up, or it's getting to the near end, and he's going to lose his job, and we're going to get a new boss. That's possible.
I think it's not only possible, I think it's happened.
You think it's happened?
It has happened. I just feel it. I might be wrong, and I don't really give it too much weight, because eventually I know the new boss is coming, but I think it's already happened. A lot of strange things, the like of which I never ever would imagined in my life. I grew up, as you did, a Jehovah's Witness, always thinking about Armageddon coming and the end, and Satan is going to be destroyed and thrown into an abyss for 1,000 years, and Jehovah and Jesus is going to come and he will be present. In fact, the Jehovah's Witnesses were great for predicting in 1975, I was 12. I remember I was making bets with all my cousins that the world was going to end in...
Really?
Yeah.
1975.
And so, when the first day of 1976, all those cousins I made a bet with, they all came for their money.
Really? Oh my God, they wanted like Santos payout, baby.
It was amazing. Honestly, I was 12 years old.
Wow.
I made a bet. I was betting the world's going to end in 1975. 76 come, and I remember handing over the money.
Yeah.
Right? That's incredible. But the Jehovah's Witnesses were famous for that. And so both you and I and a lot of the listeners who were Jehovah's Witnesses, thank God they're now saved and awakened, have always been looking forward to this time that this satanic element would be eliminated in this Armageddon. And another thing that used to interest me in the Bible was in the book of Daniel, how it talks about the angel of Persia and the angel of Greece and the angel of Babylon. Every nation has its own archangel or egregore looking after it, and they're fighting. You know, when a war happens between it, this is why all the world hates Iran, because Iran has a very, very strong protecting egregore.
Yep.
And they want to get rid of the egregore of Iran. Saddam Hussein also, Iraq, modern day Babylon, it also had a very powerful egregore, but the egregores or the archangels or the protecting angels of United States, France and everything, they got together and they destroyed that boss, the spiritual boss of Iraq. That's how it works. We humans, we're watching the TV and we're thinking, oh, look at that, Saddam got killed and France and England and America and Australia and the Canadians went in there and defeated them, and now they've got a new government. And all they see is what's on the television and what's on the earthly plane. They don't think for one moment. You know, they can't even conceive of it, of what happened on the spiritual plane in the 90s, or in 2001, when Bush went in and absolutely destroyed the place. They actually got rid of that angel. So, when you said about this Yaldabaoth and Jabulon and Jehovah and all of these orders of gods that make up the demiurge, he's gonna lose the gig. He has to lose the gig.
Yeah.
It always has to return back to the monad. So that's the process that's going on right now.
So I want to tune into some of these comments, because you got some people on here. Real Jews are those who submit to the Elohim. What was the other one? Real Jews are of the tribe of Judah. So folks, I just want to say this, because I want Santos, because I know people are here for Santos, but folks, listen, if you're playing tribute to the Bible and the Torah and the Jewish, your God is Saturn, Kronos. And I know Santos would completely agree with me on that, which is totally fine. If you want to, it's all about this cube. And this is why the Jewish, a lot of them wear it on their foreheads, and why the Mecca has the big cube. If you want to worship that, if you feel that the God of the Bible is your God, that's totally fine. But this is the demiurge, which runs the cube. And that's totally fine. Way more powerful than either one of us sitting here and anybody out there listening. But that's the demi, and that means the god of duality. Saturn is the god of time. That's why you have chronographic watches leading to the word chronos and the Greek mythology. But there has to be something beyond the level of the demiurge, because demi means the ruler of duality. And we were talking about that with, maybe it is Yaldabaoth, because to me, Yaldabaoth, it runs the 7 colors of the rainbow. And it may be that he is, or it is, the controller of the cube and the one that runs the cube, which is where the Lion of Judah comes into play, right? But what is your take on that? Real Jews are the tribe of Judah. What do you think of that comment right there? I think it's true. I mean, yeah, of course.
If you want to look at it that way, that's fine, because there are many ways of interpreting what a Jew is. But ultimately, a Jew is a mystic. They are spiritual Jews, spiritual Israelites. There are 4 castes of human beings, and the Hindus have got it right. The Brahmins, the Vaishyas, the Kshatras, and the Shudras at the bottom. I hope I've got that right. But according to Robert Taylor in the 1800s, who wrote The Devil's Pulpit, in the West we have on the top we have the Hebrews, then the Jews, then the Israelites, then the Christians. The Christians are the foot soldiers. They're the Shudras, the bottom caste, in the structure that has been organized by the current demiurge, you could say. Yeah. So there's no such thing as a race of Jews. They are not a race. It's a caste. So it's a bit like I forgot where I was going with that, but the caste, in the Greek system, they've got it's structured as, when we incarnate, there's the mineral elements. We incarnate into the grossest form, which is mineral, then plant, then animal, then human, then hero.
Hero, yeah.
And that is what the Jew is. But people who think that the Jew is the ultimate race, they're deluded, right? Because there isn't a race of Jews. And then those who also think that the Jew is the ultimate caste in spirituality, they are also deluded, because the Hebrew is above the Jew, and then above the Hebrew is another caste called the Telestoi, which in Greek means the perfected ones. So there's I could spend hours on this subject, and you really have to struggle with many people, because they've got their own ideas, and they will always cast these ideas from their mundane projections. They won't see what's really being said. You know, I'm a Jew, I'm a Christian, I'm a Brahmin, I'm a Vishnu. You know,
Every denomination is me.
well, I have
In
to
a
be,
sense,
because
yeah.
if I cannot fill every archetype, I will not be complete. And I cannot return to cause incomplete. I cannot return back to cause if I'm missing some part of my archetype. And that's why that's what Jesus is all about. Jesus was not a historical, real person of the Roman period. This is obvious to anyone who has any shred of slight bit of intelligence. Jesus he is the model that is the teacher that is in you. It's part of you that you have to awaken. Jesus is you that you have to find in you. You have to find it in you to be like Jesus.
Yep.
And then when you do, then you get christened, which means enlightened, and then you become Jesus Christ. See, Jesus and Christ are two different things. And you can learn that by reading the Bible. In Matthew chapter 23, Jesus is talking to a few of his disciples, and he says, speaking of Christ in the third person, he says, "You must not call anyone on this earth your teacher, for one is your teacher, the Christ." So hang on a minute. Here's Jesus talking to a bunch of people, and he's saying, don't you call anyone your teacher on earth. No one is your teacher. There's only one teacher, the Christ. Well, if he was Jesus Christ, wouldn't he say, there's only one teacher?
It's me, yeah.
It's me, in the first person and not the third person.
Yeah.
Why was he referring to the Christ in the third person? Because he was not yet Jesus Christ. He was just Jesus. In other words, the scriptures are teaching you that you go through stages to get enlightened, to get to the ultimate Christ self that is in you. First, you start as a little baby, you start walking, then you go to grade 1 and grade 2, primary, secondary, tertiary school, then you do your job, then you raise a family. There's a whole process to get to the end, right? So that's what the Bible is. It's just a book of archetypes. It's a book of literary wisdom. It's not literal.
Yeah, and then if you're a Bible person, you know, I talk to so many religious people out there, you have, and they stay stuck just on that book. They don't deviate away from that book. They don't go into the Upanishads. They don't read the Tibetan Book of the Dead. They don't read the ancient texts of Shinto. They don't read the Upanishads, the Vedas. They don't read any of those kinds of books. And they're very stern in their ways, which is, if that's how you want to live out your journey, that's totally fine. But since, you know, we're talking syncretism, you must take all those and bring them all together, because all of them are intertwined with one another, and there's truth in all of them. And I think, you know, because man wrote them, and I think there's a lot of falsehoods in a lot of ways, but when people make things absolute, I think that's when you box yourself in, and you actually get stuck in that cube.
Yeah.
And you can't get out of that cube. And this is the cross folded up, as most of you know. And, you know, the Jesus Christ, the original spelling of Jesus Christ in the Greek, because that's when he came on the scene, which, folks, remember, Jesus Christ didn't even come on, he wasn't even in the Torah in the Old Testament. People say it was Joshua, but there was no letter J back then. You can go to Yeshua or whatever, but I don't believe Jesus was in the Old Testament. That's what I believe. But he definitely came on the scene in the Greeks in the New Testament. And the original spelling of that in the Greek, when you do the numerology of that, it's going to bring you to the number 183 or 182, which is the element tungsten in the periodic table, which is illumination. So spot on with that, of becoming Christ during this lifetime is is an idea to become illuminated, and it has nothing to do with any kind of religion. It really, really doesn't. I don't think it really has anything to do with anything other than that. Let me see if we got any more comments here.
Well, so the religions, according to Manly P. Hall, there were seven original types of groups of religions, and each one followed a planet, and they had their holy day on their day. So Sunday was for the sun worshippers. Monday was for the moon worshippers. Tuesday was Mars. Wednesday, the Buddhists, Mercury. Thursday, Thor, Jupiter. Friday, Venus.
Freya.
Freya.
Freya, yeah. Saturn and Saturn.
Satan. That's why you get Saturday Night Fever, don't you? Because it's Satan's day.
Elton John had that song. Saturday night.
Yeah.
Saturday night's all right.
That's right. So, but according to an ancient Persian astrologer, let me see, what was his name? I'll remember his name in a minute, but he said that the Christians were Jupiterian and the Jews were Saturnian.
Yep.
And
makes so much sense.
Yeah. So,
Father-son.
Huh?
It's father-son.
Yeah. So that's why the Old Testament is very Saturnian. You have a cruel God, you know. When he ordered the Israelites to conquer the promised land and kill the Canaanites and cut open the pregnant women and dash their children against the crag and rape them and pillage them, only keep the virgins and you know, steal all their treasures and hoard them and take their cities and kill the Ammonites and the Perizzites and the Jebusites, and then all of a sudden the New Testament comes along, it's Greek, and Jesus turns up, who happens to be the god Zeus, the son of Kronos, of the Old Testament, and that's why you've got the book called Chronicles.
Chronicles, yeah.
Hello, that simply means Kronos,
Yeah.
Satan. So you could say that the Jews are Satanists, but that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Yep. And he wasn't a bad God either, because none of that was literal. That God who said, go into the promised land and kill, you know, these Canaanites and Baal worshippers, this is not literal. It's talking about when you enter into your own heart and your promised land, you must kill and destroy all the childish, emotional thoughts you have, all the mental delusions that you have. These are Canaanites. They are your enemies. They're in you. So when you enter the promised land, the order is, hey, dude, you know, kill that stupid shit you're thinking. You know, you're thinking some dumb shit there, man. and what's this anger you've got? You know, get rid of that, man. Yeah. You know, just rip that pregnant woman. You know, a pregnant woman is like an emotion, is like a pregnant woman. It's full of, you know, an emotion. So cut that emotion up, freaking smash that dumb hatred that you have against your brother or your father or your mother or your ex-girlfriend, and get into the promised land. Yep. It's in you. Kill those Canaanites that are in you that are only going to curse you if you worship and bow down to their gods. So, see, where do you begin to lecture or help someone to understand the scriptures when they're looking at it totally literal and they really believe that the Jews are hated by all the Gentiles and that God, even though he created Italians and Germans, he hates them. He only loves Those Jews with the long nose. They've all got long noses, and I love long noses. And Italians have got flat noses, and black people have got flat noses. I hate the way I created them. I mean, so freaking stupid that, you know, we've lost the keys to understanding the scriptures.
Right, we did, but I think, you know, with all this kind of great work that you're doing and everybody else, we're starting to find them, and then we're going back to source. Because I want to go to some of these comments, because I know some people are dying to, let's see, let me see, someone had a question. Someone had a question. Let me see.
I will look into my crystal ball in the meantime. Looks like the moon, this.
So big shout out to everybody out there tonight. We got a ton of comments. So God, we're all over the world right now. That's pretty awesome. Trying to get to some questions. Let's see. Got a lot of flat Earth stuff coming in. I don't know if you want to get into that topic though.
No, I don't mind if that's what people want to address.
Yeah. We just got a lot of comments, but anybody have any questions? We got England in the house. Shout out. Why does Santos say magnetism is God? That's a question from Alexander Fuller. Did you say that? Magnetism is God? Of course. But why did you say it? So he wants to know why you said magnetism is God. We were just talking about this. Mag and L.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, magnetism is God, or most probably, more accurately, dielectricity is God. And magnetism is goddess.
There you go.
Because dielectricity is black light, magnetism is white light. And let me get my phone over here. I always carry my Virgin of Guadalupe protecting me.
The vagina?
That's right. That's the portal. That's magnetism, guys. She is.
It's very magnetic, folks. If you're a guy, that's very magnetic. It's just a fun, dude. It's such a...
It's actually dielectric because it's attractive.
Yeah, okay.
Magnetism
right,
is
right,
repelling.
you're right. It's dielectric. You're right.
Yeah, very. But dielectricity is black light, rest. Magnetism is white light. The Virgin is white. She's pure. Because white light has no vibration. Vibration is impure. Magnetism is radiation. It does not vibrate. It is a longitudinal wave. Electricity is a transverse wave. That is impure. This is a temporal wave, material. Radiation is spiritual. It's infinite and eternal. This wave decays. It has decay. And so it is temporal and finite. And so that's why magnetism is the cause of all things. So it's God, or the goddess.
There you go.
And it's the black and white yin and yang. Rest, motion. Black light, white light.
So someone's asking, Santos, what exactly is the sun, moon, planets, and other heavenly bodies?
They are all the demiurge. All the 7 planets, they all are children of the sun. They all depend on the sun. They all come from the sun. They are all centered around the sun. And the sun is the chief of the demiurge. It's the sun's a portal. And all the ancient Neoplatonists and Syncretists spoke of the sun behind the sun. So when you look at the sun, you're not looking at a globe. It's not a ball of light. It looks like a ball of light, but it's not. It's a wormhole and there is another source of light behind it.
And it's just spitting out.
That's right. And as that wormhole goes across the sky, right ascension of meridian every day, the light behind it, which is the true cause, is shining through that portal. And that portal is the portal through which we return to the Father. No one goes to the Father except through me, the Son, said Jesus. And that's the sun in the sky. And so the sun is what is responsible for creating the electromagnetic spectrum, or the rainbow, which is electromagnetism and the transverse wave. Therefore, each planet has its own special frequency. Saturn is the crown chakra, Kronos. It's violet. Jupiter is indigo. Mars is blue. The sun is green. It is the green frequency. Hence photosynthesis. Chlorophyll, the green earth, that's the sun. Venus is of orange. Mercury is of yellow. And the moon is red. The moon is blood. Menstruation, moonstruation. That's the bottom chakra. So all of those 7 planets specialize in those certain frequencies of the chakras. And so that rainbow, that's the demiurge. In my country, Australia, the Aboriginals called it the rainbow serpent. The rainbow serpent. Here, just up the road here in Amatlan, was where Quetzalcoatl was born. Quetzalcoatl is a rainbow serpent. All over the world. The Chinese have the dragon, and they often depict it with the 7 colours of the rainbow. So it's electromagnetism. That's the material God of the transverse wave.
So you got a question, what do you think about Sasha Stone? I was just asking, I asked you about that tonight. You said you'd done someone's asking, what do you think about him? He's got some good stuff.
He's doing some great work.
I mean, is he right all the time? No one's right all the time. You just gotta, folks, you gotta make the truth your own, man. That's what you gotta do.
But he's doing the best he can do.
Yeah.
He's very, very busy, and he's bringing people together.
And he's an intelligent guy.
That's what I truly respect about him. He's bringing a lot of good people together, and he's got what it takes. I mean, everyone's got their gift, and he's got the gift of bringing good people together and making things move. He's a mover. So he's, and he's waking millions of people up. So I've done a few shows with Sasha, I believe we did 3 or 4 back in the day, 2001, 2002, 2003, those days, and I've always loved him and respect him, and we're all doing a different bit here. We're all doing a little bit of
singing a different tune.
Yeah, I could never do what he does, because I don't have the energy to.
You don't have his blueprint though. What is his birthday? Do you know his birthday?
No.
You don't know what it is?
No.
But he's got his own blueprint, just like each and every one of you listening have your own blueprint, man. You got to know the keys to your kingdom.
Yeah.
Right? So someone's asking, does life have a purpose? Pretty vanilla question, but of course we were just talking about that. Does life have a purpose, Santos?
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything is purpose, but the purpose is a play. Everything is a play.
Yeah, the world's a stage, right? Everybody's heard that. All the world's a stage. Are there other? So another question, Spooky's asking: are there multiple dimensions?
Multiple.
Yep. For sure.
One universe, multiple dimensions.
Multiple dimensions. Fractals. Well, you know, like Greg Braden. He's got a really good book out called Fractals. It's really good.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yep.
Let me see. So I need to find my key. Yeah, folks, if you, the one of the most important things you can do is know your cosmic blueprint, know your code. Someone was asking, do you do I Ching readings? I don't think you do. No, not human design, but of course he does astrology readings. But like we all do readings over here. So, the best thing you can do is either decode yourself or find somebody like Santos or myself or somebody that you resonate with to interpret your charts and know because a lot of you are not living out your true purpose. You're not having the ultimate experience in life. And I think that's one of the things in this incarnation is that you're given the ability perhaps to get on the highest frequency and have the best experience you possibly can. You're not going to have a carte blanche life, no matter what, because even when you get a life where you're rolled out with the red carpet, there's a lot of suffering that can come with that, and a lot of people do. A lot of suicides come from people that are given the silver spoon in their mouth. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you really, it's just your code. You got to know your code, folks. Got to know why you're here and what your purpose is. And a lot of you, and it's no disrespect to anybody, and this is just my opinion, a lot of you don't know your code. You don't know what your full functionality is. What's your life path? What does your sun sign mean? Do you have any trines, squares? Where's your debilitating aspects in your astrology chart? Human design. We're going to talk about your human design later, but your personality type, your cards, which everybody, if you follow my work, I love those kinds of things. He's a Queen of Clubs, folks. Do you know what your card is? The Queen of Clubs is, the club suit is the suit of the mind of the cosmos, which is why he's so damn intelligent, which is why he has all these gifts and why he's bringing all these pieces of syncretism together. And the Queen really kind of runs the ship because we know the feminine energy is the boss of the masculine. I mean, as males, we can admit that we're not really in control. It's the female that kind of runs everything. Because once you fall in love with a girl, they suck you in and you'll do whatever they tell you to do.
But that's the natural order.
That's the natural order.
That's not, it's not even, it's not even something to deride or laugh at. That should be like that.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to, in my Jehovah's Witness days, I went to go to uncharted territories, in the outback, all the way up near Mount Ayers Rock, and I went to visit a lot of Aboriginal towns and peoples that have never ever been approached before. So you've knocked on people's doors as a Jehovah's Witness, right?
It was frightening time for me.
Yeah, I did that.
But I did. I was like, please don't be home. Please don't be home. Please don't be home.
Yeah.
Especially when you come in and you're like, oh, it's going to be someone I know from school.
Yeah.
God, how embarrassing is that going to be?
I had that happen many
Folks,
times.
if you're a JW, man, and you're laughing right now, because you gotta find the humor in this. But did you knock on doors like we did? And did you believe that a guy really got swallowed by a fish and lived in his belly for 3 days and 3 nights? Because it had to be 33.
Yeah.
And My Book of Bible Stories was the book that was colored in gold, which is about gold currency. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, 66 books. 66.
73 with the Catholic, but yeah, 66 plus the 14.
What was 66 books in the Bible?
Yep.
12 astrological. Anyway, what I was saying was I went to visit a lot of Aboriginals who still have their ancient tradition, and what I found was that there was always a chief mama who ran the community, and some men were not even allowed to look in her eyes.
Wow.
If they should look in her eyes, that would be so disrespectful. They would be scorned, and you had to ask permission to look in her eyes. So if anyone's out there is thinking, that it's the wrong way around for the female archetype to be the boss, go, as I did, go to some of these ancient peoples like the Mayans here. I've visited a lot of the Mayans and they agree as well. The Aborigines I visited personally. I met many tribes and I've seen the chief women of all the communities. I saw this so many times. But back then, I thought, that's because they serve the devil. I'm a Jehovah's Witness, and the boys are the boss. You know, the woman, your wife's got to shut up when you talk, and she's got to be submissive, and you've got to have a submissive wife, and it's everything.
Saturn.
You're the man. The man's the boss of the house, and the moment the woman challenges that, you know, you got to put her in a place. And this is where we went wrong. The natural order is that, you know, for the woman, and so for the feminine energy. And so you were getting to a point with that. What was the point behind that? The reason why you mentioned that, was that a comment or something?
I don't remember where I lost track. You know, my mind's freaking all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
I do have a trine in air, so.
We were talking about the queen.
The queen.
Queen of clubs.
The queen of clubs. That's
So
right.
I'm a queen of clubs
Yep.
in the Babylonian system.
Yep.
But in the tarot system, I'm a queen of wands.
Wands. Yep.
So wands is fire.
Yep.
And
Well, it's air. No, wands is air. Yep. Wands is air. Well, no, you could do it fire too. I guess you could do it fire too. It depends on how you view the tarot. There's so many. Remember, I told you every suit can be linked up to every element.
Mhm.
Because remember, the perfect example, when Biden just got sworn in on the inauguration, he used the McDougie, I can't remember the name of the Bible, but it's a Bible from the 15th century, or the 1580, something like that. And on the front of that is this massive cross, but it's in the shape of a trefoil, which is the club, the club suit. And the Word was God, and God was the Word. So it's air,
Yeah.
the club,
Right.
air.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I told you, when I was studying the cards under Sharon, who's done it for 40 years, she says that hearts are fire. Hearts are fire. But in the tarot, hearts are cups, and cups are supposed to be water. So it's so broad stroke. When you can't just say, well, this is the only way, because I've syncretized all the cards, as you know, and they can go either way. So you're more, I think, because dude, you're talking, where's your Mercury at? Is your Mercury in your 7th house too?
Yeah.
See? Mercury's your air.
Yeah.
At what degree?
26 degrees Pisces.
Yeah, you're almost at 100%. I think I need a little bit more of that. And you wouldn't have what you have on the profile levels that you have.
And my Mercury is right next door to Jupiter on 27 degrees Pisces, which is Jupiter's good sign. So having that Mercury and Jupiter together, according to Bonatti, the 12th century astrologer, said that makes astrologers and philosophers.
Yep, for sure. I mean, it's in your blood, it's in your DNA, it's your code. You're doing exactly what your code's supposed to be.
Yeah,
Make no mistake about it.
for sure.
So question, Lisa, what should Scorpios eat or vitamins to take? I'm a nutritionist and I couldn't even answer that, but there is medical astrology. Scorpio.
Well,
There's going to be the salts, the cell salts. I don't remember which one it is for Scorpio.
calcium sulfate.
It's called, okay, calcium sulfate. So if you take a salt, Lisa, if you just ask that question, you should be taking your specific cell salt. I don't know which one it is, what number it is, because they are numbered, but calcium sulfate is Scorpio?
Yes, all Scorpios need calcium sulfate, that's their salt, and the two following signs, Sagittarius and Capricorn, which is silica and calcium phosphate. So all Scorpios take 3 salts if they were in their mother's womb for 9 months. They take calcium sulfate, silica, calcium phosphate
Yep.
for Capricorn.
Yeah, you definitely should be taking your cell salt, your numbered cell salt, depending on your astrology sign. Let me see. So you got a lot of comments coming in. Got a lot of love, man. You got a lot of people saying they love you, Santos. Okay, so Dylan says women don't rule over men. It's not natural. Nature tells you man is stronger. That's by Dylan Dooley.
He's talking about brute force, not brawn. Brute and brawn.
Yeah.
It's women can bear pain way more than men. Men run away from pain. Women have more tolerance. Women have more intuition. They have more wisdom.
More empath. They're more empathic.
They
too.
have more direct spiritual right, non-linear connection to God. The universe is a mother, and that's why this is the mother of God. So if you're talking about God and God being the most powerful thing, you're wrong. The mother of God is more powerful than God. It's the feminine energy is magnetism, and magnetism is the most powerful thing that exists. It is not masculine, it is feminine. And the correct order is women dominate the men. The men protect the women.
Yeah.
I don't know how this guy doesn't know that, but
Well, I guess perception, right? So Bro T has a question. Please talk about, we were just talking about this too. Please talk about the Western astrology blueprint as in comparison to the sidereal astrology blueprint. We were just talking about this. We've been talking about this for the past couple days because we were comparing our charts.
okay, so most astrologers don't realize that there are two sets of zodiacal signs. There are 12 signs on the ecliptic, and there are 12 signs in the firmament of the constellations. Sidereal means the stars. Hence, that system runs specifically off the patterns of the stars that they see. So
The
they
batteries, let me check. Go ahead, keep going.
okay, let's
Keep going. No, keep going. No, don't touch it. Don't touch it. I get it.
okay.
Let's probably get this one out. That's okay. Keep going. I got you covered.
So, yeah, but I think it's stopped and it's not even filming.
It's not going?
No, it's stopped.
Did it?
I don't know why.
No, it just says low. There you go.
Okay. All right, so Sidera means stars. And so when you look up at night and you see this constellation of Scorpio, that's the sidereal astrology. That's the sidereal sign of Scorpio. But Scorpio exists on the ecliptic, on the tropical ecliptic as well. And it owns 30 degrees, as all the other 11 signs do, of the circle of 360 degrees of the ecliptic. So there are two zodiacs. And most astrologers are not even aware of this. So the tropical system comes from the ecliptic. It comes from the cross of the ecliptic. So over here you have March the 21st, the equinox. Here at the Tropic of Cancer you have June the 21st. Here you have September 23rd, the autumnal equinox. And down the bottom here you have the 21st of December, which is the solstice. So this is the solstice and this is the equinoxes. This is fixed. It never moves. March 21st every year is the equinox. And Aries begins on March the 21st every year since the beginning of history till the end of time. It will never move. The tropical system will never move. The stars, which are higher in the firmament, that are embedded in the firmament, Scorpio and Sagittarius, which are above the ecliptic, they are sidereal and they are precessing. They are going backwards against this fixed tropical ecliptic. But we in the West and in Babylon, Egypt, Persia, Greece, Rome, every other country except for the Jesuit-run Indian sidereal system, because India is the only country in the world who has not booted out the Jesuits and never have been able to, and the Jesuits have impoverished India and deceived India in every possible way. Not that I'm saying sidereal astrology is wrong and tropical is right, they are both valid, but people who think that tropical is wrong because they are sidereal astrologers are totally misled, because the true and most penetrating system is the tropical system. The sidereal system is always shifting, always moving, always changing, and it always needs adjusting. Every minute of the day it needs adjusting because it's precessing. It's slipping backwards. So I say to people, study both systems, learn both of them, do both, be competent in both of the systems, but don't throw one or the other away. Because tropical astrologers who outrightly attack sidereal are equally as foolish as the sidereal ones who say, oh, tropical is false and it's wrong. It's not. It's 100% accurate. My readings with my medical astrology and with my transits and forecasting and everything, I don't have any problem with accuracy. It is dead. It's not me, because there's no astrologer out there who is 100% accurate. Astrology is accurate, 100%, not astrologers. That's why the Bible condemns astrologers. It does not condemn astrology. It says, woe unto those who follow the stars and who are astrologers, just as it says, woe to my judges, woe to the priests, woe to the teachers. And just like Jesus says, woe unto you lawyers. Jesus was not condemning law. He said, I came to fulfill the law. But he was condemning lawyers. So when these people, again, where do you begin to help people to understand? You get these Christians that say, oh, but the Bible condemns astrology. No, it doesn't. The Bible condemns astrologers, just as it condemns the Israelites. There was a stage there where God said, stand aside, Moses, I'm going to wipe all of my people out in one fell blow. Why did God condemn his prophets? Why did God condemn his lawyers and priests? See, they don't isolate those bits, but there's God condemning astrologers in the Bible. He's not condemning astrology.
Yeah.
He's condemning astrologers, which I also do, because a lot of them, they're just false prophets, in my opinion, because they don't know their science properly. They don't know the ecliptic. If you don't know the ecliptic, you're not an astrologer, period. And
no, go ahead, finish. I don't.
Yeah, because the ecliptic is what rules the whole system.
It's the root.
That fixed cross which never moves of the equinoxes and the solstices. That is what astrology is based on. Every year, over here at March the 21st, the year begins in Aries. It will always be like that. It always has been like that, and it will never change. And I was born on March the 24th, and if you know what you're looking for, you can see that I'm an Arian and I'm not a Piscean. I look like an Arian. You can see the long
Yep.
ram's head.
Yep.
You got a long, skinny head. That's a typical Aryan head.
Yep.
All right? My son is Libran. My son's head is about 2/3 as as long as mine. Mine's this. My son's is about that big, and it's perfectly round, perfectly balanced Libran head, and he looks Libran because in tropical astrology. See, this is the thing. I get a lot of people who only follow sidereal, and they asked me to guess their sign. And once there was a guy who said, "Oh, I'm Libra," and he was following sidereal, and I said, "Dude, you're Scorpio. I can see it. It's written all over your face. You're Scorpio." He goes, "No, I'm Libra." And he didn't know the difference between tropical and astrology. He had only ever done sidereal things.
So he's boxed himself in.
Right. But the date of his birth was, I think it was October 29. I think it was October 29. And I saw all the Scorpio. There was no Libra at all. He had the beak. He had the intense eyes. He had that eagle hawk type look, and I could just see he was Scorpio. You can see, because the tropical system penetrates the body deeper than the sidereal system. That doesn't say that sidereal is invalid.
That's right.
Because
they have their own playing pieces.
I believe we have two systems.
Yep, we were talking about this.
It's the schizophrenic nature.
Could be the infinity symbol
that we have.
Those two charts.
Yeah, they are both valid, but tropical is more penetrating. That's all I've got.
Going back to the. So I just wanted to say, I know you've touched on this before, but folks, if you're an astrologer, if you follow astrology, and then you look at the Bible, clearly you can see through interpretation that it's a book of astrology. That's why it's astrotheology. All you have to do is go read Luke chapter 22 verses 10, where Jesus specifically said to follow him into the house with a man bearing a pitcher of water, which is Aquarius. That's all you have to do. And then if you study the 4 fixed signs of astrology, those are in an identical match to Ezekiel 1 verses 10, which is the ox, lion, eagle, and man, which is Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. Those are the 4, and that's the X. That's what makes up the X chromosomes. And then if you place that over the Taurus fields, you'll clearly see the X there, outlining the hourglass shape, one vertically and one horizontally. And the X is on the outskirts of that. It's even on the 10th tarot card, the Wheel of Fortune. It's right there. The X is right there, which, the word karma equals 10. The Wheel of Fortune is the 10th card. So the entire Bible is nothing other than astrology. But the very reason why it was condemned is because the church knew that once you discover those are the real keys, you're going to unlock the doors and you're going to be able to figure out how all this stuff works. But if you follow their rules and regulations, you're boxed in. You're completely boxed in. You're not boxed in. I mean, you're kind of boxed in a little bit with astrology because, you have your snapshot, but then you have the current chart planning out right now and you do your transits, right? Mm-hmm. But you're kind of boxed in with your blueprint because that's what you get. But then you get your other layers of your numerology and all the other mystical art platforms. But folks, if you're a fan of astrology or theology or one or the other, they're one and the same. And that we're in the age of Aquarius, and it's I know thyself. And that is what you must do during this age, is know who you are. Otherwise, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. You're going to get left behind. Because there are no excuses during this age anymore. Within an instant, you can pick up your phone and you can find anything on the internet. Within seconds. 20 years ago, you're riding in a car with somebody and you say, hey, who sang that song? You may have to wait to get home to phone somebody on the phone and call them and ask them who sang the song. But now it's grabbing your cell phone and instantly having connections to the AI, which will tell you exactly what's going on, right? So there's a combination of those two going together. Anyways, what card is Santos or Logan? Can you tell us what the Aquarian age is going to be about? That's an interesting question. That's very vanilla though, because you can go in so many different. I mean, I have my own, and we've talked about this too. Wow, we've got some pretty good syncretizing. What do you think?
I think it's about society coming together, friendship, knowledge, science, technology. Not so much technology, but science, knowledge.
It's one of the 4 fixed signs.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot.
Yep, and it's mental, so it will advance the human race mentally. I've read in ancient books many times that when the air signs come upon humanity, mankind makes the greatest advancements.
Yep.
Always.
And the universe is just expansion and contraction. And Aquarius is contraction, going inward, I know thyself. And then the opposite house is Leo and 5, and that's expansion, fire. You take your clothes off, you get crazy in the summertime. It's warm. We're not in expansion anymore, we're in contraction mode. We're going back inward. And do you think that maybe that the cosmos is taking its breath inward and it wants everything back? I want it all back. Because maybe the Big Bang was the breath out and expansion, and then now the breath's going back inward, and the cosmos is taking its breath in.
Yeah, back to the future.
Back to where it was. Like I want it all back.
It
going
is.
back to source.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
I'm feeling that.
Yep, that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to do a graphic on that. I think with just the fragmented particles going out. And I mean, we're the microcosm of that. So we breathe. Why would the cosmos not breathe? The earth breathes. The tides go in and out. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Yeah. And that's where we're at. You know? Jeremiah, what's up, brother? New Testament, New Testamental. Astrology is a map, but not the territory. Okay? Satan is in me. Okay? What about this new moon this month? Anything on the new moon?
Which was just yesterday, wasn't it?
Don't know. I haven't been following it.
New moon in Aquarius.
Let me see. Let me see what it is. February. Let's see. Yep, 208 February, new moon. Yep.
So there are 6 planets. When the new moon happened, there were 6 planets in Aquarius, which is opposite Leo. So anyone who has a Leo rising, like me, that means that all of those 6 planets are transiting the opposite, the 7th house, which is partners and marriage. And they will be getting a lot of romance, I think. So
nice.
Leo rising, all you Leo rising people. Yeah. Right now, because Aquarius is in my 7th house, yeah, I've got 6 planets sitting there. So
you got a lot of energy in that house, dude.
Yeah, I have.
You got stellium times 3.
Yeah, I've got 6 planets in the 7th house.
2 stelliums.
And now 6 planets transiting the 7th house. So, yeah. And I do have a very, very, very beautiful and wonderful treasure of a partner, whom I love dearly, who is not with us at the moment. She's gone an hour down the road to her hometown, Querétaro. And we're here in San Miguel de Allende. So if you ever want to come to the most beautiful city I've ever seen in my life, San Miguel de Allende, come and visit, folks. It's the most amazingly beautiful Tartarian city. I did a video about a week ago. If you go to my channel, Mr. Astrotheology, yeah, just go back a few vids and have a look at some of the beautiful buildings here. This town is just intoxicating. It is intoxicating. Mm-hmm. It has so many boutique artisan shops and businesses and courtyards and patios. It's all like the palace of the gods, this town. It's like the gods were living here once upon a time. It is the most amazing place. But where Julieta, my partner, is right now, Querétaro, supposedly is also very beautiful. I haven't actually seen the city. I flew there from Cancun last week, and I'll be going there in 2 days. So if anyone's listening who's from Querétaro, you want to catch up for a coffee, I'll be there in a couple of days. Then you're going back to the Yucatan. Yep, then we'll be going back to where I've been Cancun. For 4 months, Puerto Morelos. Right outside, right south of Cancun, folks. Yeah. Which I think I may be coming there next. Yeah. I think I'll be going there next to visit you for a while. Well, some good news for the Syncretism people. We're starting to form a group of people down there in Puerto Morelos, in Quintana Roo, just south of Cancun. And we're going to start an academy and a magnetic healing center. So if anybody wants to reach out and get involved somehow, just reach out.
Yeah.
But Syncretism's going to take off here in Mexico soon, hopefully.
Someone was asking when you coming to Boston, and we've been talking about this for a while, traveling around and doing a tour. But it's, folks, I don't know if you know, but it's the traveling in the world, for that matter, is getting very challenging. And even going back to the U.S. right now, who knows? You know, I mean, my visa is up in 3 months. I'm probably going to go renew it somewhere in maybe Nicaragua or something. But folks, you know, I want to go on tour and teach the things we want to go together and teach together and share the stage. That's kind of one of our goals. But right now, traveling in the United States seems like it's going to be a bear for now until they loosen the strings up, which I don't know if it's even going to be happening. I don't know. We've been talking about this.
I'm hoping.
We hope so, because
Mm-hmm.
it'd be cool to go on tour and go visit all these great cities and have seminars and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that's definitely. So, folks, if you want to help out with that, we were just talking about this. So, you know, like having people help out with a lot of pieces that are going to be, because building this whole syncretism, this whole channel, this whole nucleus is going to take more than just, you know, you and I and whoever else is in Puerto Morelos. How many? You got a few people that are in Puerto Morelos, right? So
I got tens and tens of people now. Yeah, lots of people reaching out. Mexico is the place for this to take off. Mexico is no mistake. I'm here.
no, me neither. Yeah, no,
It's
for sure.
this is God's land. This is paradise on earth.
Yeah.
It's
If you can get here, folks, it's very inexpensive to live here. And it's very easy to get a place to rent right now because of what's going on with COVID. So if you can get a flight to Mexico, which you should be able to easily do that, they're still booking flights. I don't know what the COVID situation is coming into this country, but I know they're not denying people. And if you can get down here for 6 months on a visa, it's very inexpensive to live here. I mean, I'm talking super inexpensive. I lived all over the world. I've lived all over the United States, and this is one of the most inexpensive towns to live in. This town right here, you're 6,000 feet above sea level. The weather's absolutely stellar. It's been in the 70s and 80s every day. The rainy season comes in late springtime, but that's it. It doesn't get really humid here like it does where he's on the coast. It's not like Cancun where it gets really humid. Here it's very dry. It's like I got my temperature gauge and it's 39% humidity here. So it's not really humid. It's very dry here. And the people are amazing and the food's inexpensive. The restaurants are good enough if you like to eat out. There's a huge supermarket right in town. You can get anything you want. So you're not living in a third world. And this is a really amazing tourist destination. But, you know, I think going over where you're at is where it's going to, you know. So Cancun's going to be the next spot though, because that's where the center's going to probably be. Yeah. Because that's where you're at.
It'll be between Cancun, it'll be either Puerto Morelos or Bacala.
But in that area, Yucatan.
Yeah.
Right on the coast.
Yeah.
So you'd fly into Cancun and you'd have a 20, 30-minute car ride. No big deal. Yeah. So, let me see how much juice I got. I'm at like 15%. We got a little bit of time left. Concentration camps are beginning in America. Oof. Folks, I don't know, man. If you have the ability to get out of the U.S. right now, I mean, that's the very reason why I came here. You kind of came here for a seminar, but you're supposed to be here anyway.
Well, originally I came here to do on a visa run.
Yeah.
I had a 2-year ESTA visa to visit the States. And my first visa run, I went down to Costa Rica and Nicaragua. And the second one was here.
Yep.
And I had a presentation to do. And then I went down to Oaxaca. And that's when the quarantining began. And it was the best place in the world to get stuck. It was like...
It was very lax there, right?
Paradise.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the best time of my life.
Yeah.
And then I realized that Mexico is just right for syncretism, and I'm in the right place. I'm where I should be. So people are coming from all over the world. I've had hundreds of people coming to Mexico just on my recommendation, and a lot of them are coming to support syncretism. And so let's hope it's going to take off.
Yeah.
I believe
So,
it will.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to come here, you need something that you can do, you know, to earn your money, or if you have a nest egg to come down here and kind of go on a 6-month vacation. It's very inexpensive to come down here and support yourself. But then if you're going to come down here for a long period of time, if you can make money online through some kind of e-commerce or some kind of online business, that's the best way to do it, to support this whole thing. Because, you know, I know he's going to be looking for people that are going to be, they're going to have to run video cameras and the audio and editing videos for shows that we're going to be doing and all that stuff. That stuff's in the near future, but it takes more than just a few people to run that. So if you're one of those kinds of people that can help support the mission, and you want to come down to Mexico and have a nice little vacation and get away from kind of the craziness in the U.S., and your instinct is telling you that, because folks, your instinct is really kind of one of your guides. So if your instinct is telling you that you need to get out of where you're at, then maybe you should listen to it and then just kind of put your mind into getting out of that situation you're in, and then just let your blueprint take over. That's it. That's how I kind of look. That's how I kind of roll with it, right?
Yeah.
Trust your destiny. Because you already have a script, you're living it out, you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now, but maybe you're watching this video and you're like, oh man, these are some seeds that I'm getting planted right now, and I want to water those seeds. But remember, you know, the road is paved with flat squirrels who couldn't make a decision. So don't be a flat squirrel. You gotta move into the layer of execution and make a decision on what it is you want to do. Yep. So weekend seminars would be awesome. Yeah. If we're not going to do live, folks, if we're not, I know that we're joining forces in some way, shape, or form. If it's not going to be live seminars at hotels or retreats throughout different cities in the world, which is, I know that we got that planned, but it'll be online it'll go virtual for now, because that's the only way that we can do this for right now, right? Mm-hmm. And then just do small groups in Mexico.
Yep.
Until we can kind of start moving it out. So. All right, man. Well, if you want to end this transmission, I got about 15% battery on my computer, and unless you want to talk about something else. Online is safer. Well, folks, what do you think of the online is safer? Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So, somebody was asking about the Jesuits. I know that was somebody was asking about that. Folks, I just want to say this. It's not always blaming a certain group of individuals and saying that those guys are the ones that are controlling the world and running this and doing that. Folks, everybody has a job. The Jesuits have a job. The Vatican has a job. You have a job. The JWs have a job. Christians have a job. Protestants have a job. Muslims have a job. Everybody has a job to do. And as long as you're staying true to your heart, that's all that matters. So, you know, Darth Vader has a job. Yoda has a job. So you can't just continually blame the Jesuits for doing everything. They're doing their job. So if you don't like what their job is, do your job to counteract their job. Because if you give those people energy and you continually blame them and say it's their fault, you're giving them energy and you're making them even more powerful, and you're not even consciously aware of that. So you have to make yourself more powerful. That's why I always say to, you know, make the truth your own, and then don't give your gold currency away. Don't give your energy away to people that don't deserve it. Like politics is a great example. Stop watching politics. If you watch them, don't give any energy to it, because Joe Biden will gladly take your energy if you want to talk smack about him, and he'll get it from you if you talk smack about him. Any politics. Do you think Joe Biden talks about you? You think Trump talks about you personally? No. So stop giving those people your energy, because they'll gladly take it. It's all about exchange of energy. Give your energy to people that deserve it, and that will give you something in return, or at least boost your morale or your vibrational frequency. Politics is an energy vampire. That is a fact. It's an energy vampire designed to suck you dry of your energy. So you need to put it into something that's going to raise your frequency and vibration. And I know that's why all of you are here and you follow Santos. It's why I follow Santos, because it's all about frequency and raising your vibrational frequency and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's what I wanted to end on.
Nice.
Do my little rant. But
Well, no, that's it. We finished with that.
Yeah.
Because can't beat that.
yeah. So, folks, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming on Santos' channel. I'm so blessed to hang out with this guy. I get to share some space with this guy. We've had a great time, and we're going to continue to do this, blast out this syncretism. And if you have a monumental decode for me, send me an email. Like if you have something that's earth-shattering that you think I should see or watch, send me an email and I'll take a look at it. My email is decodeyourreality@gmail.com. And then if you have something for him, I know you get probably way too many emails, but you still check them though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So send him an email. You have a question for him, send him an email. What's your best email you want him to? Which one are you using?
music@santos.net.au.
There you go.
And if you do, try and limit it to 1 or 2 questions. I don't like when I get 20 in a row.
Yeah. Folks, I'm going to tell, clearly, and I know you agree, email is my least favorite mode of communication because it takes too long to sit there and type messages, right? This is the best way right here.
Yep.
And then eventually we'll have online virtual classes where everybody can interact and all that stuff. But the email is, limit your questions. But if you have something earth-shattering, send it over. Definitely. Yeah. So anyway, so thanks everybody for joining in. The
Thanks,
great
guys.
Santos Bonacci.
Much love.
Much love to all of you. All right, brother. Well,
Until next time.
until next time.